Okay, let's get started. We are doing PowerPoint Chapter 1. We're going to learn how to create and edit a presentation with Clipart. Voila. So we're going to go ahead and start PowerPoint once again for the third time now. If you don't have PowerPoint already, down in the bottom of the taskbar, just click the Start button. Go ahead and just type PowerPoint. It will come up. Launch it. If you don't, I would, because you're going to use this a lot, right mouse click it and say pin this program to this taskbar right down here. But I have already. You know what? They just made a change too in the art gallery. We'll have to see if it works today. I just remember from my last class. So we want to create a slideshow. I'm going to preface this one more time with, this is not how to build a pretty slideshow or an effective slideshow. This is how to use the tools in PowerPoint. So the first thing we want to do typically is to start off with a theme. Does anybody know what a theme is in PowerPoint? Yeah, it's like the basic design. So if we click on here, we have all these different themes, and I can go over it, and it instantaneously makes an entire presentation look uniform and not plain. We have a bunch of different options here. The theme that we're going to use today for this class and for this entire little exercise we're going to do is right here. It's called Oriole. So find your theme under the Design tab, and we want to use this Oriole theme. Notice that we've got these circles and these lines. This is going to be my first rant of the day. I find it absolutely maddening when people use up part of the screen for nothing except this weird, stupid graphic. That drives me crazy. There's no point to this outside of who knows what, but it's going to be on every slide or whatever. Those things just drive me buggy. Well, we're using what the book tells us to use. But I'm just giving you advice in the future. Like, did you see Steve Jobs? Did he have some little doohickey to say Apple on every slide or anything? No, he didn't need to do that. I find it gimmicky, okay? And I am anti-gimmicky. So we've got this document theme. That's great. We're on Oriole. Let's go ahead and click a presentation title. We can notice if we just click in here, we can just click to add. It will automatically come up. We can start typing. The title of this presentation is It is Easy Being Green. So it is easy being green. I know. See, type my last name really quickly there.
Yeah, I saw that.
Now, I'm going to give you a keyboard shortcut a chapter early here. If we want to go to the next slide, or not the next slide, but the next section in a slide to type, without going down to the mouse and clicking into it, you know how to do it? No. Control Enter. Control Enter is a little quick shortcut that'll take us to the next little subsection.
And then if you do it, it goes to another slide after that.
Stop. Shut the front door. You got to be kidding. No, okay, so let's go ahead and put our subtitle in here. Saving Energy at Home. Now we want to format some of these characters. Once again, if I double tap, I get one word. If I triple tap, I get the whole paragraph. Or Control A. Well, Control A will grab everything on the slide, right? Or everything in that box. There you go. So if I'm off of that, let's just try this. Control A grabs everything. There you go. Yeah, you can use Control A as long as you're in the box, but I'm going to triple click. Because then if I triple click, I get my little awesome short menu right here. Short taskbar, menu toolbar. We're going to change this to a bolded, italicized. Control I will get us there also. And we're going to change the font size, I believe, to a 24. We can use this font up, font down also if we'd like to do that. And finally, we're going to come over to the title, and we're going to double click on green. And we're going to change the color of the text to green. Ta-da! So effective. Great. This is looking good so far. You with me? Or are you with the terrorists? You're with me. No? Control S. We're going to save this because we're going to start off. We're going to go ahead and call this Saving Energy. And I'm going to save mine on the desktop so I can delete it because I've made this too many times to remember. Now we want to add a new slide. I'm going to go up to my Home tab, click Home, and we have slides right here. I'm going to click New Slide, and if I drop down this little arrow area right here, it will bring this down. I can say, well, I would like to use a title with content slide. So I'm going to use that one. And it gives us all these options in here. Notice that we have different buttons that we can press, but also it says click to add text. I'm going to add my title first, and the title for this one, they talk about the 7x7 rule in the book. Ignore it. It's a horrible rule. So just telling you that. Make small changes to cut energy. Control Enter brings me down. Now notice as soon as I come in here to start typing, right here what I get is a faded bullet point because I have not started typing anything yet. So my bullet point is faded. But as soon as I type my first letter, the bullet point goes like darker because it's finally like a hard point. So install low flow faucets and shower heads. Enter. Now when we're doing bullets, Jerry, how do I make the next bullet? How do I make the next indented bullet end? How do I make a different bullet? How do I go in farther to the right? You guys are overthinking this. This is really easy. It's a button. It's one button. There you go, tab. If I just hit tab, notice it comes in and it gives me a different bullet point. I didn't hear you say it. Maybe it's on the video. We'll go back and look.
There you go.
So tab is going to go here. This gives us what we call a second level paragraph, okay? So we're going to go ahead and type in here cut water consumption in half. And then we're going to hit enter. Now the problem is once we've gone in, how do we get back out if we want to do a main bullet? Backspace? Let's see. Oh, nope, that deleted my...
Tab and then the backspace.
Oh, no, nope. Still not happening.
Press Control Enter.
No, that's a new slide. Shift tab takes me backwards. Tab takes me in, so you'll notice that I can keep indenting. Then shift tab brings me out. So shift tab is the way to get out. And any Office document, whether it's Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all that kind of stuff, shift tab will take you backwards. So we're going to go ahead and put the rest of this in here. Appliances count for 20%. Electric bill.
It's faint when you see it, so maybe doing it.
Start typing.
Oh, are we having a problem back there? That's because you probably deleted it. Go back up to the line ahead, the upper line. So if you have a line that has no indent, you probably hit delete. Just go back up to the line above it, hit enter, and you'll get your bullet back. Did it work? Oh yeah. Not a good example of how to build a slide, just where you're learning the tools. Shift tab.
That's for the wash clouds.
I know it's tough, but it's tab to indent, shift tab, undent, I guess would be the word, right? Dedent? Jennifer, is that not working for you? You're giving me that confused look. I know, that's why I'm not sure if it's normal or if it's okay. Okay, listen, wait, watch up here. Just watch, really quick. I just want to show you. If you don't have this, right? It's just blank. Oops. Is it blank like that?
I'm getting a big one, but it won't go down.
If you get a big one, right? If you have this big one, you have to hit tab and it will shrink it.
And then tab again to make it.
Tab to go in one more. Shift tab to come out.
You got it now? Yeah.
So tab brings us in, shift tab brings us out. Woo! That was a lot of explaining for a tab button. No. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and we really want to emphasize something in this slide. So we're going to highlight it and we're going to bold it. And we can bold by doing what?
Control B.
Control B. Exactly. Look at that. In fact, I don't want to just bold it. I want to make it bigger. I'm going to make it a 24. I'm going to increase that font size. So up here, I'm just going to hit this increase font size to 24. Control Z. Now we're going to add one more slide. So we're going to go ahead and add a slide with the title only this time. Title only. So new slide. Title only right here. My mind is telling me no, but my body's telling me yes. Everybody, let's just take it slow. So, all right.
You guys break out and dance next?
Oh my gosh, I need to bring in the video to embarrass myself, but you guys might be the first class I share it with.
See?
I'm sure you do. I'll have to bring Miss Antoinette in too, so she can see it because I'm never going to show it again. But
It's going control delete.
energy efficient lighting. We're going to go ahead and put that there. Now we're going to add one more slide after we do that. So we're going to click new slide, and we're going to do a comparison slide. And we're going to click in there, adjust your thermostats. I'm going to go ahead and click furnaces, furnace, 68 degrees.
I wanted to see how you were going to say furnicus.
Furnace. Water heater, 120 degrees. So we've got that. At this point, I just want to show you guys a couple different things. First off, we have a navigation bar over here on the left. This shows us the slides as we're building them. We have a notes section down here that gets really important when you start doing presentations in front of people because you can type things you want to remember that you don't want to necessarily put up on the screen. So if you want to read the audience a paragraph, put it in the notes so that we don't have to read it ourselves. But if you want to show us something, you can show us a picture or whatever and then put it in the notes and you can read it word for word. So we've put this all together here, and now we've looked at the different views. Let's go ahead and start inserting some clip art. Go back to slide 1, just click on it over here. This gets us quickly to any slide we want to go to just by clicking on it. So let's go back to slide 1. And we're going to go ahead and insert clip art. I need to just throw a little caveat in here. In Office 1997 or Office 97 version, Cameron wasn't even born. I'm just kidding. But in Office 97, Microsoft spent like hundreds of millions of dollars creating a bunch of clip art. Okay? And it was great because up to that point you had to purchase clip art to put it into a presentation. Well, when they put it out with Office 97, they gave us this clip art for free as part of the package. It was fantastic, but for some reason Microsoft has felt that they need to keep that clip art in 2013. So it's very dated, and you can always tell when someone's using 1997 clip art. I hate it. It's distracting. And one of the philosophies I will always tell you is never do anything that will disconnect an audience from your message. And I think old clip art does disconnect because we're not used to seeing it all the time. So we see it, we're like, wow, that's old. If someone thinks, wow, that's old, they're not thinking about what you're talking about. They're thinking about what's on the screen. Okay? So we need to just understand that right off the bat, some of this stuff that they're going to tell us to put in is horrible. So I just caveat it first. Let's go ahead and click Insert, the Insert tab up at the top. We're going to click on Clip Art, and it's going to open up this Clip Art pane over here on the right. We're going to search for something called, and you need to make sure you've checked Include Office.com content. We're going to look for Green Globe. It's searching. I've selected some other stuff here. Here we go. There we go. So we can, I'll just show you this early. We can actually pick if we want photographs, videos, audio, all that kind of stuff. I had it unselected, so I only had photographs. But I've changed it to illustrations now. So I've got all these different things. We can pick whatever we want, and I would argue that there's pretty clip art, and then there's, let's see, Like this is getting kind of ugly. This is kind of old school now. The 97 clip art always has like the weird background color, and it looks like it's skewed. Hold on, we're gonna find one here. It's like the history of the internet. I don't see any of the old school. We're gonna get to an old school one pretty quick here.
They'll do the black ones that look like abstract art.
Yeah, no, that's what they all. The abstract art ones are definitely the 97 clip art. So if we want to insert this, we're just gonna click it, and it goes in. We don't need to move it or anything. Let's just leave it there because we're going to go to page 2 or slide 2. And now this time we're going to insert a faucet. Click go. And the one they want us to put in here is... Well, I'm going to just show it to you. Like this is starting to look like 97 clip art right here. Right? We can totally tell that's 97 clip art. The one they want us to put in is definitely 97. Like this kind of stuff. Yeah, this is just like, you look at it, it's like, wow, hideous. So if it were me and we're making a more modern version of this, I'm going to go ahead and use this one right here because it kind of goes with the theme that I've already picked. Yeah, so there's a faucet and then also a dishwasher we're supposed to put in here. The dishwasher has a really funny one also. There we go. See this? You got the background color, the skewed look. What they want us to put in here. I'm just going to go ahead and pick it because that's what they have here. Let's go ahead and go to slide 3. Excuse me, slide 4. And on slide 4, we're going to learn to use this tool. Now, this is a little bit of a problem in the program because somebody at Microsoft just didn't ever figure this out. But if I already have my Clipart pane open and I click Insert Clipart right here, watch what happens. It closes it. Someone didn't figure that out. So if you click on it, now it opens up. Now the reason I want to do that is notice that it's highlighted this box. So as I come up and I type into here, what do I want? Furnace? Enter. And I find this really hideous version of a furnace.
Yeah, that's just...
Notice that it replaces that entire box with my clip art. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing here. Click it. Unfortunately. Click it again. Yeah, that's the one you want. Uh-oh. What'd you do?
Mine didn't do that. But yours did.
Well, you weren't clicking on this then. You have to click on this little clip art thing. That's what I was saying, to replace it with it. I'm going to go ahead and put this wonderful water heater in here. Ta-da! So I'm going to go ahead and hit Control S to save this thing. Now we want to insert on this third slide, we want to put a picture, an image, not a clip art. So we're going to go ahead and grab this. We're going to type in CFL. Let's see if it comes up. Man, it's not giving me... They got rid of our picture that we use here.
Yeah, I found it in one of the folders that we were using.
So we would learn this tomorrow, but I'll show you today. If you can't find a picture that you want here, I'm going to go ahead and click Insert, and I'm going to select this one, Picture. And what it does is it opens up my library, or my computer, and if I type in CFL, let's see if I can find it. No matches. Let me see if I type it.
See, it opens all of the pictures that we needed are inside the Chapter 1 folder that we downloaded.
Oh, there you go.
So that little light bulb with the field is inside there. This one is inside the Chapter 1.
Well, I can't find it on mine.
I don't have Chapter 1.
That's okay. If you don't have it, you can just type it in, and I'm going to grab this one right here. This is supposed to be a picture. How about this? Light bulb. Nope. I like CFL. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Light bulb. I'm just going to type that in because we are having a problem here.
I'll put energy saving light bulb.
Did it come up?
Well, I got one with a blue background. It's like a blue circle and a CSL in the middle of it. I'm gonna use that one. This is going rogue.
I mean, once again, the pictures are like colors. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and the pictures that you need are actually in
I don't know why I don't have it. Because I have all those.
That blue one.
This one?
No,
No, that one in the center, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to pick a picture, though. I'm going to put this in here, even though it's a horrible picture.
It is.
This is a horrible picture, but we're just going to run with it. Okay. So, once again, just remember we are picking a picture. It's not necessarily the greatest thing ever, but we're just trying to have the example. So now we need to go through and we need to resize these and make them look right. Let's go back to slide 1 by clicking on it. And we can think about a slide a lot like a desktop. If I was to take and place my book right here, and then I placed a piece of paper on top of it, can I still see what's on my page?
That's why you put it behind it.
Well, I can see anything that's not covered. If I put another piece of paper here, I can see what's on here, but anything that's not covered. The same thing is what we think of when we look at graphics. Notice on this one, It's Easy Being Green is now being covered because after I did the title, I put a graphic on it. So this is what we call in computers layers. Anybody that's used Photoshop will probably know about layers. If you right mouse click on a layer or on an image, we can actually just come down here and we can shuffle where it is in this stack of papers. The easiest way to do this one is just send it straight to the back. If we send it backwards, it'll go back one layer at a time. Notice it didn't do anything, but if I go send backward, there it just went behind because I was going one layer at a time. If you just right mouse click it and say send to back, it just goes all the way to the back instantly. Did I what? No, if you move it, it's still going to be in front. Watch, if I bring it to the front, this is where it was. So if I move it and I want to have it like right here, I'm blocking all my words. You could, but if I wanted to have it right here and I still wanted to be able to see the words, I could say send to back, and now I can see everything. I'm going to resize this, and once again, we have our destructive and our non-destructive handles. Don't forget, we have the corners are non-destructive. They keep the aspect ratio, so it doesn't skew it. So we go ahead and resize that. That's great. Let's go ahead and move our other pictures over here. I've got a dishwasher. I've got a faucet. I'm going to delete this faucet. And I'm going to just resize these to the right size so they fit on the screen properly. That's good. Now notice as I move this one up, I get this little faded line. That's PowerPoint telling me you're now in line with the other graphic. I can move it, I think, yeah, right there is centered. So now I'm centered with it. So if I move it there, these two graphics are actually centered upon each other. So that's probably what I would rather do. On clip 4, we need to resize these things. So we're going to pull it down, pull it up. Do the same thing over here. Pull it up, pull it down. Looking good, looking sharp. Now on our slide 3, this thing's way out of whack. We're going to move it, first of all, and then we're going to drag it out. So we're going to resize the picture. So we've got that there. And finally, a really quick way to do a good conclusion slide is to come up, find our first slide, click on it, and if we right mouse click it over here in the navigation pane, we can go down to duplicate slide. What that does is it makes an exact replica of it, and if I click and hold it, I can drag it. You can see this little blue line here. That tells me where I'm going to put it, and let it go, and now I have it at the bottom of my presentation, the back end. Did it work? Yeah, that's what I just did. Watch. It's right afterwards. Then I click and drag it down here. Let go. That's all right. And I'm going to change this because now that I'm finalizing this thing, what I want to do is I want to say, instead of It's Easy Being Green, I'm going to go in and change this text. And I'm going to say be green. And I'm going to say saving. Instead of saving, I'm going to change it to save energy at home. It's a message alteration. So it looks very similar, brings everybody back, and kind of reminds them. Now, if I were to show you this, if everybody looks at it really quick, you'll notice that as I do this, I'm going through really quickly, and it's just very sudden. Notice how it's suddenly going through this? There's no transitions, exactly. So what we want to do is we want to make a subtle transition from slide to slide. If I click over here anywhere, and I use Christine's favorite keyboard shortcut, Control A for select all, notice that it grabbed all of my slides at once. So they're all highlighted in yellow. Isn't that awesome?
That is awesome.
And I can go up here to the Transitions tab, and I can pick all sorts of crazy transitions. I prefer Fade. Okay? Fade is my favorite because it's simple. Keeps it not distracting. You can use crazy stuff, like if I was to use Honeycomb. Honeycomb's great, but what I find is that it's distracting. And so once again, you're breaking and making a disconnect with your audience if you use something weird, because they're like, oh, look at that. I'd like to tell my favorite little story right now. I used to make wedding videos as a side job just because I enjoyed doing it, and I had a Mac, and it was easy. And I would go to these wedding shows, and you'd see all these people that would be my competitors, and they would make videos where, like, it's a sunshiny day outside, and the pictures are bum, bada, bum, bada, bum. They'd come in, and then it would fold up into a paper airplane and swoosh off the screen, and then you'd see another thing come in as a soccer ball and explode on the screen as a picture, and they'd put music to the background of it. And then you'd have my table, or my booth, where you'd come by, and my pictures were all using what's called the Ken Burns effect. Does anybody know what that is? Ken Burns is a famous documentary guy, and all he does is he takes still photos in all of his documentaries, and he pans and scans them. So he'll take a still picture, and he zooms in on an aspect, or he zooms out, or moves left to right, or something like that. So I'd take all the still photos, and I would do that, and then every transition I made would just be what we call a cross dissolve, but it's just a fade, a very simple one. And I think my videos were very powerful because by the end of the time I got done, everybody was bawling because I would be focusing on the people, not on the technology, right? So the video technology kind of went away, and all you were thinking when you got done is, that's my daughter, she's getting married. Oh. You know, everybody was always bawling, and every time I'd see everybody crying, I'm like, nailed it. You know, that's exactly what I wanted. I didn't want them to be thinking about what I was doing. I wanted them to be thinking about the purpose of the video. I think we should do the same thing with our PowerPoints. We should always be focusing on what is our presentation, not, hey, check out how cool I just did something. You shouldn't get done with a presentation, people go, wow, how did you do that? It should be, that was a great presentation. Little side note right here also. What is the presentation? When you give a PowerPoint presentation, what is the presentation? Having said that, I prefer fade because I think it's a very simplistic thing. And watch, when I run this slideshow, now that I've selected fade, this is the run button down here, this run slideshow button. But if I run it, as I go through each one, it just gently takes us through. Now there's way too much on that slide, this slide, there's problems with all these slides, but it just becomes a much more subtle transition instead of a whoo, wham, whiz bang, you know, Space Invaders kind of thing.
There's one that you can take the text and then you drag the thing around and you can make it go like this until it goes right in the middle.
Yeah.
I did that in class once. I made it go all over.
They have really cool, no, they've come up with amazing things. In fact, one of them that I have actually learned to use, I don't know if they have it on PowerPoint, because I usually build all my presentations in Keynote, which is Apple's version of PowerPoint, but they make one that has all the words. What happens is if you're on a slide with words, it'll pick out whatever letters it needs for the next slide, and as you do a cross dissolve, it'll move those letters up to the other spot. Stuff like that every once in a while, I'm like, okay, I can vary it up, but I just find, as a rule, you don't want to be doing crazy transitions. Also, as a pretty big rule, I would say, just for those of us who aren't experts, don't make different transitions throughout your entire presentation. Pick a transition and stick with it. Like, don't do random where it's like doing raindrops on one and then shred on another and then mosaic on the third slide. That just distracts people. They're like, whoa, what's going on? And they sit there like, whoa, I wonder what's going to happen on the next transition. That's not what you want to be thinking about. You want to be thinking about what you're talking about right then. So there's a couple other things we need to go over really quick. The first one is printing a presentation. Control P brings us into print. We have a couple different things. We can print all the slides. We can put one slide per page. On this one, we could do, where is it? Notes pages. I do this every once in a while. If we had added notes, it'll show us the slide, and it'll put a whole page. Whatever we've put in our notes are down here. That's great. I do a presentation for Miss O's class sometimes on the fallacies of logic. And on that one, her classroom isn't set up so I can have a screen right in front of me, but I have a lot of notes I want to refer to, so I just print it out. And I have all my notes right there, and as I flip through, I just use my notes to refer to it. It's a good way to do that. And it is allowed. You know, I honestly, if you're going to mess up your presentation because you're so nervous that you don't know what to do or you're going to freak out, read it. Put it in the notes. I would so much rather have you give a good presentation read than stand up here and like, in fact, I have a really funny story. One of my favorite students, she got up here and gave a presentation on why she liked the brand Chevy. Right? That was her presentation. And she got up and was super nervous because public speaking is the number one fear in the world. People, you know, they're all scared to do it. Yeah. And she got up and she was super nervous, and I could tell. And I'm telling you my trick already. But if you get up there and I can tell that you're kind of struggling a little bit, I might ask you a question. And what I did was I asked her a question. I said, "Oh, really? What was that? The right color?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, what about this?" And I asked her a couple things, and she started just talking. And all of a sudden, it just turned into a natural conversation instead of the memorized thing that I've got stuck in my head right now. You know, I've got to get it out right. When we're natural, it's so much more effective because people start bonding with what we say because they feel our passion. They feel that they can connect with it, that it's become humanized. And so if you're stressed out, you know, people think everybody's naked out in the audience. I totally disagree with that. Just think that you're talking to one person. That's the thing. Have a conversation. You can actually talk and say, "Jerry, what do you think about that?" You know, if you're getting nervous, ask a question of somebody. Start a dialogue because that's what a presentation should be, is a natural dialogue. Okay? We've got this print. You can also print out, if you're going to hand them out, you know, like 3 slides with some notes in case you want people to be able to have this. I've always found when I give a presentation, I don't hand out notes because I used to, and it gets distracting where people are looking ahead and they're not thinking about what I'm saying. So it's all about, I really believe that if you give a good presentation, people almost don't need to take notes because they're going to remember what's going to be said because you did it effectively. There's different learning styles and everything. Let's talk about, so that's it for this chapter. We just did everything.